Before we talk about London Comic Con Spring, shall we talk about a little bit of news that came out recently? Would you like to take the helm on this, Mr. Pro of Crispy?
I would very much like to. So you know how we said that next week we're going to have a big episode dedicated to the 60th anniversary?
We did indeed.
What if I told you we had some news this week about the 60th anniversary?
I would say it could be heavily steeped in rumour because it's from The Sun in the UK, I'm pretty sure, but still want to hear about it.
word of warning for everyone. Take this with the biggest pinch of salt that you can, because this comes from The Sun, which are notorious for some headlines not coming true at all. But in all fairness, some of the headlines have come true.
And they're also just not a very good UK newspaper. But that's just my opinion. Anyway, Go for it.
Well, this little Australian had a read from it, and apparently the big rumor is that Jodie Whittaker, Peter Capaldi, Matt Smith, David Tennant, and Christopher Eccleston will all be returning for the 60th anniversary in 2023. Apparently, Russell T Davies is trying to recreate the charm of the classic episode, The Five Doctors. I find this incredibly hard to believe.
Me too. And it's also worded differently to the one that I read. There was on a site called TV Zone, I think, that interpreted it, and I think they were just saying he was pulling multiple doctors and didn't specify who. So it's very clear that this is like, it's people are trying to make assumptions from the rumour, but the general idea of there being, I think, was it like a special for each doctor? Was like kind of where they were going, and then also a team up, or...
That's the thing, like, it's very, like, it varies on wherever you read this news. Right now, this one doesn't mention anything of, like, solo Doctor Adventures, like, special, but I have seen that somewhere else, so I don't know. I do not know, but apparently, like, what I'm reading right now is that this episode would act as a pass the baton episode to David Tennant, because we all know that David Tennant's coming back. So
wait, David Tennant's coming back, is he?
Yeah, he's confirmed to be the 14th Doctor.
Oh, yeah, you should have watched episode 2 of Who's There, Doctor Who podcast, and you know all about that.
You'd know all about how honestly, David Tennant is in the bookies twice.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on there. That was very strange.
Some reasons as to why I find this incredibly hard to believe is one, that Christopher Eccleston said he would only come back to Who when hell freezes over, because I don't think he has the best working relationship with Russell.
That is indeed what he said on live TV, because he was interviewed by someone in the UK called Lorraine Kelly. She's like a TV host, if you don't know it. Doesn't really matter, but she interviewed him when he was going in to record some of the Big Finish audio stuff. And she said to him, now you're doing the audio stuff, does that? And he literally went, I know where you're going with that, Lorraine, and hell will freeze over. He said that word for word. He's like, still not going to happen.
Yeah, you can go back to you. You could pop up. Yeah. I mean, things could happen.
That's what I'm doing at the moment in audio form.
Yeah.
And I know what you're getting at, Lorraine, but only when hell freezes over, as the Eagles once said. Oh, God, I've just lost you.
So... like, because I think the reason he got into the Big Finish audio stuff, I mean, he has said part of it was for the money, which I greatly respect, and I feel like more actors should just be honest about that, because it is a job, it is a paid job. But I feel like, him, because I think he said a bit of it was seeing everyone at conventions years after, still wanting to meet him, still telling him how good he was in the role, and reminding him that even though he was there for a short time, he is still greatly beloved. So yeah, I think that definitely made a difference. So you could argue maybe Big Finish might be a good bridge over, but it sounds to me like he still doesn't really want to work with Russell again. So unless there can be some kind of gap being bridged, I don't see that happening. And then same for Peter Capaldi. We discussed this last week. He said that... We did discuss this last week, yeah. Yeah, he said that, multi-doctor specials, the more you do, the more they lose their touch. You could argue, though, that if Russell's going to do one anyway, Peter might go, well, why not be in it? But I don't know about that. I feel like it's more likely for Capaldi to come back than Eccleston. I feel like Eccleston out of the two, yeah.
would be the hardest one to get. Like, I don't know how good Russell's apologies are, because I feel like I don't know if he ended on the best terms.
They've worked in the past before and not had a problem, but I think there was some pressures on the set as well. There were some things they were like, they were 3 weeks behind after 2 weeks of shooting, they said, for Doctor Who. So there was definitely stress on the set. So it's hard to know exactly how they're going to, bring Chris back if they're going to manage to bring him back, because
If they're
Stephen
going
Moffat
to.
nearly managed it.
It'd be incredible.
Moffat nearly managed it for the 50th.
He did almost. There was a whole script for the 50th. Like, I don't know. Like, Moffat, like, props to him. I know some people aren't the biggest fans of Moffat. I respect the man so much because he was under so much time pressure for the 50th anniversary. And the man made, like, 5 different drafts of the thing just in case, this person couldn't make it back. This person couldn't make it back. Like, there's storyboard frames out there right now of what it would have looked like with Christopher Eccleston if he returned instead of getting the late John Hurt in. But yeah.
Which, to be fair, I am, as much as I adore Christopher Eccleston, and I really do love that man, I am glad he said no, because we got John Hurt, and while I love Chris Eccleston, John Hurt was he's a class act. I love that man. And
phenomenal.
It's still sad that he's not around anymore, but he was absolutely phenomenal. He was phenomenal.
He worked very well alongside David Tennant and Matt Smith in that episode. And segueing back
Speaking of those two.
Speaking of those two have stated numerous times in numerous interviews that absolutely they would love to return.
And they will.
Absolutely.
Like, we can say with almost complete confidence. But you know what I want the most out of all this? Because what I'm thinking of is, if they want to do 5 Doctors, they need 5 Doctors for starters. Jodie is going to be difficult. Only because she'll have just left. And I feel like for her, that'd be very weird to kind of be pulled back in after just deciding to leave. But also, she is pregnant. Like, and as I'll discuss...
Didn't even think
when I was
that.
there in London, I couldn't guess completely because she had a really baggy shirt on. I know the point is to draw away from the pregnancy, so I'm sorry for pointing it out almost. But she did look quite heavily pregnant, so she's probably going to be having her baby in the next couple of months. So she's going to be having the baby and then looking after the baby. Is she really going to want to be donning on that grey trench coat again, like months after when they're supposed to be starting filming next month? That's the rumour, isn't it? So that's going to be a problem for her. But for me, the thing I want the most, if they actually do a special for every Doctor, I want to see a Paul McGann episode.
Was about to bring that up.
That's what I want the most. That's what
the fan wants.
I love him, and like I haven't seen a TV movie in years. I need to rewatch it. That should be an episode for us to both. Have you seen the TV movie at all? Have you seen it?
I've only seen the start about 1 billion times, and I don't know why.
If we can get it to work, we'll see if we can watch it together. We'll see if we can.
I would
love
that. I would absolutely love that.
The podcast right after. That's a shout.
Oh, that's so nice.
Stay tuned on that. Stay tuned on that.
Stay tuned for that.
But the movie, from what I remember, it was good. It wasn't amazing, but it was good. Paul McGann was the standout. But it's that Night of the Doctor special. It's that little 5-6 minute thing or 8 minute thing, however long it is for the 50th anniversary, that just shows you how wasted that man was. Like, of course, again, I love Chris Eccleston. I'm so glad we had Chris and David and Matt. Like, the way we got it, I would never change it. But I wish we could also have Paul McGann in there. People keep saying, well, what if Doctor Who did kind of like a slate like Marvel do, and they have a couple of spin-offs and things and really get a new era of Doctor Who? If you ever do a spin-off and you don't do one for Paul McGann, not good enough.
What are you doing?
Not good enough.
What are you doing?
Like, people saying they want a Fugitive Doctor spin-off. I love Joe Martin. I love the Fugitive Doctor, but out of the two, I would rather see a Paul McGann spin-off first. The man's been in the franchise for 26 years now, and he's had a movie and an 8-minute episode. Like,
I reckon we've almost had the exact same
runtime out the two.
The fugitive, for the Fugitive Doctor. That's crazy.
By the end of the centenary, he probably does even. You might even have more for the Fugitive at this point. You genuinely. But I love. Don't get me wrong. I do love Joe Martin, and I'm not saying she should.
Absolutely.
She's
kick-ass.
She is phenomenal. She's brilliant. I really, really like her. As a question, do you think this report is credible about Doctors returning for specials to try and make the 5 Doctors? How credible? Do you think it is completely credible? Not credible at all? Kind of credible? Who do you think will return? Who would? My English is amazing. Who do you think might return? Who would you like to see return? Let us know.